Hi everyone. Today we're going to discuss security controls. Now, the question of what a security control is very popular. So we're going to break it down. So a security control basically protects the assets for the organization. And assets in terms of IT refers to the infrastructure, the network, the devices on the network, or even the data that's stored on these devices. Now, these assets have to be protected in order for the organization to continue its business. Now, this also applies to personal devices because we all have confidential information or we all have devices that we need to protect. So now we're going to look at the different types of security controls. So the first one I'm going to look at is physical controls. A physical control, as the name suggests, physically protects the asset from access by the implementation of something that is a physical device. For example, a padlock on the door would prevent someone from accessing a room like a server room. Other forms of locks would include card readers that would prevent access to people that don't have a card that would be able to give them that access. So that is the fundamental concept as it relates to physical control. You know, even if there is a fencing around a building, that is also considered a physical security control. Now, let's move on to another type, which is the administrative control. And once you hear the word administrative control, you're thinking of administration. Yes, it does involve paperwork, and this is usually implemented through management. Now, an administrative control simply addresses the behaviors of people within the organization, and it directs and controls what happens and how the activities are carried out. And this is all geared towards protecting the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of those assets. Examples of administrative controls would include policies, procedures, and standards. Now, these will direct all of the actions while certain activities are carried out. So, for example, acceptable use policy would tell the employees how they would manage the devices, how would they use them. And another kind would be like policies that speak towards specific configurations and so on. Now, let's move on to the next type of security control, which would be the technical controls. Now, technical controls are also called logical controls. So these are more technical, of course, and they are implemented by the computer systems itself. Now, what that means is that it is either a software or something that has to be put in or done on the computer, right? Or by a computerized device. Now, yes, some level of human involvement is there. However, the restrictions and so on are enforced by the machine after the rules are implemented. So what happens there, for example, one example would be like a firewall. So if you look at the firewall will direct the traffic that comes in and goes out. Now, the human part would be to put in the rules, the firewall rules, but then it would be enforced by the computer system itself. You have other examples such as a data loss prevention system, IDS, which is intrusion detection system, IPS, which is intrusion prevention system, and so on. And also another one I'd like to mention also would be like anti-malware. If you think about it, all of these security controls are all working together towards making sure that the business is able to carry out its function while making sure that these assets are secure. So they're not isolated. So they all come together to make sure that the business can continue. Now, I hope that you gained a little bit more understanding or a better grasp on these concepts, and stay tuned for the next lesson.